Hello. Sorry about that. It disconnected me. Literally. So like I was saying earlier, if you're not on TikTok, it'll disconnect you for inactivity. I wasn't even gone that long. But y'all can see me now. Sorry guys. Sorry. This is that SPX trade that I told y'all that I was in earlier. I am doing an Apex challenge. I'm up 5K. You have to make 6 on this 100K. My only thing is I can't pass it until I think after 7 days, and this is only day 2, so I'm gonna have to be entering some small trades. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and finish off on EU because it's almost 12 o'clock and I have to get up at 6. Trying to stay disciplined with getting up early, doing whatever I need to do before the charts, because it just seems like when I get on the chart, you just can't pull me away from the computer. I love charting. I love trading, period. Okay, so inside of this zone here, we was looking for another zone that price could possibly stop at. And I see an inversion fair value gap right here. And already I can look to the left and see that price was hesitant in this area. So I am going to mark this up. And this is just about the middle of the zone also. So that's 92. This is 124. Okay. So now I'm going to go back to current price. And now I'm going to come down to the hourly time frame. All right. And the hourly just rejected some area, right? We got one rejection here, two rejection here. I want to come over on the left and find the other candles to see what did price just reject. And I'm sorry. Let me go back and I'm going to put a horizontal line here just to see what it connects to, okay? And it's this one up here. Actually, let's make it a different color. I'll make it blue. And we are very far over in price. Price hasn't been here since August. Technically still hasn't been here. 2024. We're now in June 2023. I don't see anything in this area at this blue line. Let me come up here to the daily and let's see now at this blue line. Okay, right here at the daily. Price has not been here since November 2021. And I'm going to zoom. Let me see if I can get current price in 2020 where we're at now. Okay, so this is where we're at now. This is 2021. Price has not been in this area. Price on EU has not been this high. Hey, has not been this high since 2021. Okay. So we know that the dollar is heading to the downside because if EU's buying, the dollar is selling. We know that it's been doing that ever since our current election has ended and all of the changes. And I'm going to mark up this fair value gap here just because I want to see. Okay, so 50% of that is here. I don't see any gaps. Where did my blue line go? There it is. Where my blue line is at. I don't see any gaps, but I see rejection. I see rejection. So now I want to come up to the weekly. I want to see what was here on the weekly. Even here on the weekly, this blue line, it's got a bunch of rejection back 2018. Back from 2018, all the way over here. Price has rejected this area. Okay. I found it finally. Fair value gap right here, all the way from 2003. Crazy. 2003. I'm going to remove the background and I'll make this middle line blue just so we can know where we are. Okay. And price technically, this is 50%. So that's not where the rejection is. The rejection is down here. So I'm going to delete that. And now I see this inversion over here. I want to see if this is closer to that rejection area. Okay. They're right on top of each other. So it's this inversion here that's making everything reject in that area. And I'm going to mark it up again, right? And we're going to follow the blue line back to current price. And let's just count how many times price touched this area and rejected it. Okay. So price traded through here in 2008, 2003. This area was created June 2003. It broke through November 2003. And if we just move over, it came back to this area November 2005. It rejected and bought. Okay. And then how can I trade the past? You look at the past to see what's going to happen in the future. All right. So here's that blue line again. Price finally came underneath it and retested it. And then it did it again. It came back to it, tested it, and rejected it. It didn't touch here. Okay, but it came close enough. And then now price got on top of it and retested it. It's crazy. And then again, now it's just moving sideways. It moved sideways on this zone for weeks. 133 days. 133 days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 weeks. Price touched this blue line here. This blue line here. Before it traded away, came right back to it. I mean, traded above it, came right back to it. Okay. This was in July 8, 2018. Touched it 2 more times over here in 2020. All right. Now over here in 2021, it consolidated a little bit more. And now back in 2025, we are back at this area again. Now, price hasn't touched this area since, was this 2021? So about 4 years ago. And this is looking like a break and a recess to go lower. But also, we have to consider the times where the dollar isn't really doing the best. So maybe it may just break through. We don't know. We don't assume. But it is looking like a break and recess. Okay, so I am definitely, this is the most important zone. I'm keeping this blue line there. And now I am going to come to the daily. Okay. Well, we did our daily. We're going to come down to our 4 hour. All right, we have our zones for our 4 hour. Now we're going to come down to our 1 hour. And that's where we was looking for this area at. Now, here on the 1 hour is what is price going to do from here? Price rejected this area once and gave us an impulsive move, right? And price came into this fair value gap here. Okay. Price came into this fair value gap here. These two areas are 30 pips apart, and this is from a higher time frame. And as you can see, price touched it once, it touched it twice, but I am going to get rid of it because this one is my most recent zone. So I'm going to get rid of this one. Okay. So now if price comes underneath here, breaks and retests, the next zone that I would want to see price go to would be this fair value gap here. I don't want to just assume that it's just going to free fall to my trend line, because from here to here is a nice 49 pip move. Okay. And then underneath there, this area here. And I'm looking for something right on my trend line. And this one is better. This one right here. Okay. And I got that from this gap right here, this fair value gap. And as you can see, price respect these areas. Do I trade crypto? I just hold crypto. I don't really trade it short term unless I look at it and just see something, but I don't look at it too often. All right, so now on our hourly, we see that our current structure, let's zoom out some, okay? Our current structure on our internal is bullish, right? Price is making higher highs and higher lows, okay? This is our internal structure. And you see how this pulled all the way back here, but still continued going because our last low was here. Price can come all the way back to the last low. I don't know what color to make it. Okay, our last low was here. Price can come all the way back to the last low. As long as it doesn't break and retest it and continues, then it's still an uptrend. Okay. So now, remember, our next high has to be higher than the last one. So this is just one movement up. All right. All right. So now the question is, where is our last structure point that we need to see price break for this to be a sell? Okay. This is our last structure point. This is our trend line, right? Price can come all the way back here, test this trend line, and then continue higher. But the question is it going to pull back that far? Or is it going to just come and tap this part again? Okay. So now, let's see. Let's come a little closer in and we walk out scenarios on what could happen in order to get into the trade, right? So now we'll come down to the 15-minute because we want our entries on the 15, 5-minute, or 3-minute. If you're not, if you haven't been trading for a while, I would suggest just stick to the 15-minute, okay? We're going to pull our indicator up and we are using the RSI plus the MACD. All right. So remember, I only want to sell when price is at a zone plus overbought. You see that? We got our first peak here. We got our second peak here at the zone, and price was overbought, and now price is selling. Now, currently, I would love to see price come down here to this area, right? It has to, come from zone to zone. But it is Asia session. So we're just going to let this finish. Okay. What you would want to see tomorrow is price come underneath this zone here and retest it and then hold it until price gives you your pullback back to your last structure point. Okay. And another retest on this trend line. But remember, also, we do have this zone here, right? So like I said, in between here is a good trade. It's about 40 something pips. And then take it from here to here, exit, and then let price let you know that it wants to go lower. Then you can just enter another trade, right? From here to here. All right. So we're waiting for price to get to our zones. We're waiting for price to give us a double top. And we're also waiting for a candlestick pattern. Okay. These are our candlestick patterns: evening stars, morning stars, engulfing candles. Okay. And in order for it to be an engulfing candle, it actually has to run the high and the low of the previous candle. So this was an engulfing candle. Okay. Price came to a zone. This was a zone here. Just don't have it marked off right now. But right here, that fair value gap was a zone, right? You look at the RSI, we got one peak, but that first peak wasn't at a zone. Then we got our second peak, which was at a zone and gave us an engulfing candle. Okay. When you get engulfing candles, you want to wait for price to come back to 50% of the candle. Or you can just, enter at the low, but just know that your stop loss is going to have to be at the high. And that's a 51 pip stop loss. But as you can see, price came back to 50%. And now your stop loss is move 26 pips. Okay. This indicator is RSI MACD. RSI MACD. And this is the only one that I would use. I want to say Indian, right? That's what it looks like. RSI plus MACD. Just type it in and it'll come up. It's free. Don't change any of the settings. I like his settings. Okay. Tomorrow is Monday. So Mondays is one of a short day trade. Let Monday play out, and then Tuesday really when we can hold Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But Monday is a short play trade. So let Monday either play out or come and see if you can get a scalp. All right. Because look, price looks like it's, as you can see, is moving sideways in this little consolidation here. And then price just came into this gap here. Right. So definitely. And then look at it on the RSI. This is another reason why I didn't get into GJ. Remember I said I did not want to sell if price was down like in the white area. Right? You want to sell when price is up here, buy when price is down here, right? Same as you do on a chart. You're doing the same thing on the indicator, okay? Some of these lines got to go. I can't remember which one. I think it's this one. All right. So that's EU. Okay. Definitely want to see if it's going to continue to move lower. Pull back to that trend line and see if it's going to try to come back and retest that area. Retest our... What did I just do? I've never seen this. What did I literally just do? Where's my chart? I don't know what I clicked, but okay. If you didn't know, these little two buttons up here help you go back and undo. So undo, redo, go back, undo it. All right. And so I marked up this fair value gap. That's what I just marked up. And I see that price came short. Price could decide that it wants to actually come and touch the 50% and then drop. So we'll definitely, it's Asia session. It's 12:55. So I'll be live on YouTube at 9. And like I said, I'll probably look into Streamlabs tonight. Depends on how sleepy I get after this call. All right, EJ, for whoever asked about SPX, I've already marked up SPX, and we definitely see SPX coming lower. And I see a zone up in here, right? Because we got these two rejection points, so I am going to mark up this fair value gap. And price never came to 50%, but it did touch the zone. So I am going to mark that area up. I think I'm about to exit my trade just because it is Asia session, but I entered like right here on the zone, so I'm just going to close it. We're done for tonight. All right. So that's for whoever asked for SPX. Definitely want to see it move lower. Okay. Because it looks like price is starting to create lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower high. I want to see another lower low created. Okay, so we have EJ and UJ. I think I'm just going to mark up gold. I actually already have gold marked up. Okay. Gold looks like it's breaking outside of this wedge here. And this was a higher time frame zone. Or was it not? 4 hour. Was it not a 4 hour? This inversion here on the hour. Okay. All right, let's remark up gold. It's definitely selling though. And if you look down at the indicator, I'm going to show you again before this sold, right? Price made its first peak. This time it did make it on the zone. Okay. Price sold. And then it gave a lower high down here. And this was the lower high. And this was an evening star. These 3 candles right here. Bullish candle, doji, bearish candle. Right on this second peak. And then it gave you a fair value gap. Could have got in at that gap and sold it down to the trend line. Okay. But let's delete this and mark our chart up on the monthly. All right. So as we can see on the monthly, gold is definitely just a bullish pair. I'm not going to mark any monthly structure points, but I am going to come down to the weekly. And I'm going to mark this area here, our last high. And in this case, I'm just going to mark the last higher low, okay? Because these were our structure points here. Went from here to here, and then possibly a new high, but we're not sure yet. Okay. So now I know that I am inside of this zone, of course, that price is traded in. Now I want to come down to the daily. I want to see my structure points within the daily. So remember, this was our last high, and this was our should be higher low, but it's really not a higher low until we get a new higher high. But it is, we're going to keep that as a structure point. Also, we have a fair value gap zone here. Okay. But I'm not going to mark that because I already have this black line right there. Now, here on the inside, we have here, 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 and then possibly back here to this high. So now I'm going to mark off this structure point here just because it's the closest to price. Okay. Now I'm going to come to my 4 hour. And here on my 4 hour, I noticed this fair value gap here. And I noticed price rejected this area. And we are currently around that rejection area. So I'm going to mark this fair value gap up here. All right. So as you can see, I marked that fair value gap, and this right here was that rejection area. Price came through it, came back, retested, looked like it's going a little higher. Now it's trying to pull back and retest it again. Okay. And then I'm also going to mark up this gap here, because this gap was literally just created on June the 12th. So it's still relevant. We haven't really gotten a retest, a touch of that area. All right. And then I want to see if there's anything else above this area. And currently, I don't see anything on the 4 hour. Let's go down to our 1 hour. Okay. And this is current price. I did have this trend line here marked up. Okay, so I'm going to mark it again because all you need for a trend line is 2 rejection points. So here and here. I'm just going to extend it out. All right, so price just broke this trend line to the downside, and it left us a fair value gap up here. I would love to see a break and retest, right here into this fair value gap. All right, now we are on our hourly. Let's see, just to fill in some of this extra space down here. Well, first, I'm going to reevaluate this fair value gap. I want this to be more 50% since this one came from a higher time frame. And I see that it's right inside of another gap. So I'm going to adjust this area to here. Okay. And then I'll add this gap right here. All right, so now we have all of our possible zones that price could fall to. And then, of course, if it keeps falling, retesting, you just keep adding more gaps, okay? So now we can come down to our 15-minute. And here we are, current price. Oh, 1 second. I do want to go back on the hour and see if there's something up here that show where price rejected that area. Okay. So I see an inversion here. I'm going to mark that, and I want to see if that's what gave us our rejection at current price. Okay, so price didn't quite get up there. Was there anything else? There is a fair value gap here. Okay, that's what it was right there. All right. I'm going to delete this area though because price is underneath it. And now we have this current fair value gap right here for the hourly. So I more so want to look for price to respect this gap, and because it's right here on the trend line. So price is almost to this zone. And the only thing that I definitely want to see is price, of course, finish this off, then come back and retest, and then come lower. Even if you just trade it back to this same zone and then wait for price to break, retest again, right? Gold, these areas is quite a lot of pips. So this is 166 pips for gold. So that's more than enough, right? Especially on gold. So now I'm pulling my indicator up, and I want to see what price is looking like on my indicator. So definitely here on the hourly, right? Price is at the low of this purple. We know that we do not want to sell, right? And it's in the middle of the zone. You don't want to sell when it's in the middle of the zone. You want to sell when it's at the zones. and you don't want to sell when it's at the low on the RSI. Price has to come back up here for us to sell. Okay. It's on the low. It's super low on the 15-minute. But again, we got our first rejection and our second rejection. Okay. And that second rejection, that fair value gap right here. That one wasn't in the fair value. It was in the higher time frame value gap, but it still gave you what you needed to see. I can draw another trend line above here. That's where we were at. And it pretty much looks like what it did before I deleted it. So yes. Price can easily, now this is why we wait on confirmation, right? Because tomorrow, when the market open, price could literally do this. Because we know it's coming down to this area. Then it could shoot up. Right? So don't just assume it's going to sell. Price get to this zone, come down to your 15-minute, look for your confirmations, look for rejection. Wait, look for price to reach the zone, and look for price to reject with an engulfing candle, with an evening star, with a pin bar. Okay, if you don't know your candlestick patterns, there is a link in my bio, and we went over the candlestick Bible. We went over all of the candlesticks. We went over how to identify them on the chart. Okay, look for that, and then look for your second. At this point, it won't be your second, it'll be your third low. Okay, so this was our first, right? This was a high, higher low, right? It'll be a third higher low to come lower. Okay. So that's pretty much gold. And UJ, I'm not going to remark it. I'll mark it up tomorrow. But this is what I have on UJ. So UJ last week took off, and I missed it because I saw it too late. So I came here to this 4-hour, and this is literally the only time where I've noticed that yeah, price is rejecting, but I also have this trend line. If you didn't get in here at that price, that's what I'm saying. It's 17 pips, right? But we don't know if it's going to break this trend line. From here to the trend line is only 26 pips. So that'll be a quick scalp. I'm not going to get in on a quick scalp. It's 12 o'clock. Well, it's 1:10 Eastern Standard Time. London session starts in 2 hours. So you don't want to be in the wrong direction, and then price spikes up from this trend line on you. So just leave it be until this isn't even a London session pair. This is a New York and Asia session pair, and you've missed the Asia session move. So wait for New York. Okay. But I was saying I missed this buy, right? So if you look down here, the M's and W's on the indicator work as long as they're at a rejection point. Okay. This is a W down here. Here, here, here. Right? This was our second point. This was our second point. This rejection here. This rejection. And price went up to that zone. But even if it didn't go up to the zone, it still would have been good up here to this fair value gap, which would have been right at the trend line. Okay. So now I am waiting to see what's happening, because if we zoom out, Price is technically still in a downtrend. Right? It didn't break this last high and it didn't break this low, but eventually we do want to see it break this low. But right now, the price is just trading sideways. Just broke out of this trend line and it has not given us any clear direction. Okay? It's selling nicely though. I will wait. If you're going to be up all night, right? And price comes inside of this zone. Price comes inside of the trend lines, right? I got trend line beneath and trend line above. This rejection point, this rejection point, these rejection points give you this wedge, right? Price comes inside of it. What do we see right here? A fair value gap. Let price get inside of here, retest this, and then you can take it down to here. Which is nice on you, Jay. That's a good 100 pips. I'm gonna mess around and set this alert for myself. Let me do that right now. This is the only promising trade that I would look for. Okay. But the only reason why I'm not taking this is because it's so close to this trend line and there's another fair value gap here. Although price did reject and buy off of this gap, it decided that it didn't want to continue higher, but let's let it tell us that it wants to continue lower because we don't want it to get here and then say, okay, I'm going to continue higher because remember, it can pull back all the way to its last structure point before going higher. Thoughts on Nas? I don't have Nas marked up. We can mark it up. Where? I do have it marked up. Okay. So Nas just broke up under whatever time frame zone this was, right? You see how price just rejected. Okay. We got a high, a higher low, right? Now we have a lower high, a lower low, lower high. Now we're possibly waiting to see if price is going to give us a lower low down to whatever area this is. Let's delete it because I don't know what these zones are. Okay, so we're going to go to our monthly. All right. And I'm going to mark up my last high because Nas is indices is forever bullish. It's always reaching for a high. Okay. And it's summertime. If you don't know the cycles of the market, just ask ChatGPT, how does the market run? Okay. But summertime, just like gas, price goes up to the end of the year, basically. In the beginning of the year, everything starts over. Right. And I'm just going to mark this because this is our last higher low. Now I'm going to come to my weekly. Okay. And this was my weekly structure point here. Here. Okay. So this was my last area that price broke to get us this new low. So I'm going to mark this up. Now price is back in this zone. Okay. You pastured. Nice. I'm on day 2 of mine, but you have to do 7 days. I have 1,500 more to make, but I still have to trade 5 more days. So I'm on day 2. All right. So now we're on our weekly, and now let's come down to our daily, right? And this is our current price. Price just came from this gap here and continue higher. Also closed above this gap. I'm going to mark up this gap right here. I'm not marking up this one because we already have an area of interest down there. Okay. All right. Nobody's trading. Chat. How are you trading when it's not NY session? Do you not know that Nas actually moves during Asia session and London session? All right, so now I am also going to mark up a trend line because I see that price is trending. Although I'm on my daily time frame, if I was to go down to my lower time frame, I would clearly be able to see my higher highs and higher lows, right? So I want to mark up my rejection points, and you just need 2 rejection points to have a valid trend line. Here's 1, here's 2. All right. Price just broke outside of this trend line. Now I want to come down to my 4-hour. And I just want to zoom out so y'all can see the trend a little bit better, right? That I marked up. Okay. Now, because I know that this is such a wide range, right? I want to look for zones inside of this area. And also, I'm trying to get closer and closer to price. Okay. So currently we see that we got some rejection last week. This happened Thursday. I think that whole stuff with Iran happened and everything just kind of dropped, right? But where did it drop to? I see a fair value gap here. I'm going to mark this one up. And 2AT, it dropped to 50%. Okay. So I am going to keep this area. All right. And as you can see, price respected it throughout time. Okay. We've touched this area 1, 2, price traded through, didn't quite hold up, then traded through again, and now we're retesting above it. Okay. Now I want to come down to my hourly. And I can mark a trend line here because I have 2 points of rejection. I have 2 points of rejection on this side. All right. So now it looks like we're getting some type of parallel channel over here. Okay. I do have a fair value gap that gave us this rejection from this first trend line here. And as you can see, along the left side, price also respected it. Okay. Now I also have this inversion here, and I want to see how many times price tested this inversion. Okay. So price tends to give us a little bit of consolidation when it gets to this area. See that? It doesn't just give you these straight movements. It kind of plays around and then goes above it. It's retesting this area a lot. Okay. Now I do see that price is currently inside of a fair value gap here. I want to keep this one just because price has respected it so much and because they're kind of close to each other, right? They're really close to each other. Okay. So I'm just going to keep that one. So now I can come down to my 15-minute. And I want to see what price is telling me. And of course, looks like we're moving sideways, like we're trying to move upwards inside of this zone here. So I definitely want to see it come back to here. Okay. And also last week on Nas, it finished its fib. Okay. So this was point A and this was point B. All right. So A, B, price pulled back to the 618. Price hit the 618. 618 is TP when price hits the 618, and it also means rejection. Price rejected, and I believe it's starting a new fib. I'm still working on my fib, so we shall see if this is where price is going to end up back here at this 618, okay? Because price pulled back to the 786. So I am going to mark this area off real quick and mark it as 618. But now, for now, I don't want to target this until price gets on top of this area, right? For now, I just want to target here. Let price break out of here, retest, and then tell you that it's going to go here. Because you don't want to target here and then price just does this until it finally gets here, okay? Because then you'd be in it for a long time. Yes, I've lost trades. Any trader that tells you that they haven't lost any trades they're not telling the truth. Everybody loses trades. Trading is a probability game. You're not going to win every trade, but it's the fact of having good risk management, okay, and good risk to reward. All right, so now I want to turn on my RSI and my MACD. And where are we on the RSI and MACD? We are too high to buy. Price is already moving up. We're too high to buy. We definitely want to see some type of pullback for price to let us in. So we'll come down to the 15-minute. And here on the 15-minute, price has already made its high. You see how we have this little W here? We have this little W here. But I need to see price pull back on this RSI. Now, the thing about some of these pullbacks, you're probably not going to get a full back to the white. It's probably just going to come to 50% of this RSI and then continue higher. Especially because we're in the middle of this zone. Oh, and then you see what else I just spotted? I just spotted a tiny little trend line break and retest. Oh, snap. See that? All you need is 2 rejection points. All you need is 2 rejection points. 2 rejection points. And now we have a fair value gap. This is where I want to look for entry. Okay? Now, sometimes Nas gets crazy. And Nas doesn't like to pull back. But this is Asia session. Okay? So we should get some type of pullback London, New York session for sure. But hopefully it doesn't just run off on the plug. Okay? Because it did just come from this fair value gap here. See this gap here? See, there's fair value gaps all over the place. Okay? For the person who said, it's Asia session, why are you trading? Literally, y'all, don't let people deter you from trading in Asia. Asia just moves slower. It's going to take a little longer for you to find your entry, but it also gives you time to think. Like sometimes, especially with Nas, London, New York session can move really fast and it'll whip 300 points one way and then come back, give a pullback and then continue, and you thought you missed the move, but actually you didn't. So now you in drawdown and then the trade that hit stop loss. Like, you know, don't be deterred by Asia session. Sometimes it consolidates, sometimes it doesn't. But even if it does consolidate, even on Nas within consolidation, right? All of this is ugly, but still, that's 65 points. Like a good trade on Nas, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 points. Like over here, where was that little bit of consolidation? This little area right here. And then if we take it down to the 1 minute, because if you're scalping Nas for a couple of points, you want to come down to the lower time frame. And literally, fair value gap gave you an entry. Fair value gap for your entries. Fair value gaps for your exits. Let's do this one here. Solid little 50 something points. And what was it? A break and retest. It's got to be a break and retest all day. Price broke that gap area, came back, then continue lower. Okay. But don't let people deter you from Asia session, especially if you got a 9 to 5. You know what I'm saying? That's a 1 minute. You can't be at work. Well, when I had a 9 to 5, I was at work looking at charts. But, you know, most of the time you can't because you got coworkers and stuff all over your shoulders. Unless you just disciplined enough to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. All right, so I got a bunch of zones here. Which ones did I want to keep? Okay, so I'm keeping this one, right? Because this is where price just left from. And then I see that price over here and here. It came into this zone, but it didn't touch 50%. I'm not going to keep that one. I see this gap here. Okay. I'll keep here. Okay. But we're definitely looking for price to come to the top here on Nas. And this is more than enough. Even if it's from here to here, it's 119 points. From here to here. Let's get right at the trend line. 86 points. Okay. So that's Nas. All right. UJ is making his way on down. I don't know if I'm going to stay up or not. It's 12:30. I'm feeling some type of way because I know I'm not going to get up at 6. But I will be on YouTube live. Let's check the news real quick for this week. What? Why did I just do that? How do I put it back? I don't remember. Control Z. Gosh darn it. It might not work because I went off of it. Thank you, though. I'll remember that for next time. Okay. So today is June 16th. There's some JPY news. It says tentative. Well, okay. It's Monday. I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, it is Monday because it's 12:30 now. So Monday, June 16th, there's some JPY news that's going to happen tomorrow Asia session time. So JPY pairs go crazy. I'm definitely going to be live for that so we can catch a nice news trade. So it says tentative. I'm pretty sure it's Asia time, Asia session starts at 8 Eastern Standard Time. So I'll probably be here. Let's be here at 6 Central Standard Time so that we can delete and remark up some charts to see what's going on. And then Tuesday, we have core retail sales at 7:30. I'll be here on the charts for that. There's also some JPY during London. Oh, JPY is going to be moving this week, okay? All right, and then Wednesday, we have GBP, CPI, and unemployment claims, and federal funds, FOMC on Wednesday, okay? It's going to be a nice moving week. Not a lot of volatility. No USD red folders on Thursday, but we do have some GBP at 6 a.m. Oh, there's a bank holiday on Thursday? Oh, is that Juneteenth? Yes, that is Juneteenth. Okay, so Juneteenth. We may just trade GBP if I'm not already in a trade because it is Thursday. I normally like to try to be in a trade by Tuesday, Wednesday, depending on what the market is showing. So we'll see what happens on Thursday. And then Friday, nothing much on Friday. Some more JPY. So JPY is gonna be buck this week. It's gonna be nice. It's gonna be wild. Gold. We went over gold. This is what happened the last time, that inactivity. Sorry, guys. Okay. We went over gold. I'll show you the chart real quick. Okay, looks like price is trying to pull back. We want to see price pull back into this fair value gap. Excuse me. And I am going to set an alert here because I didn't do that. Okay. So price broke out of this trend line. We're just looking for a retest. So we already got our break. Looking for our retest. And then look for price to continue lower. Back to, I'm not going to trade it any further than back to this hourly low. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. Any other pair that y'all want to look at real quick before I hop up off of here? I'm definitely not getting up at 6 o'clock. I done already made up my mind. But I will be back on YouTube live. I'll be on by there was no London news, right? I forgot just that fast. I need to add Forex Factory to my homepage. Okay. Yep, there was no London news, so I'm not gonna worry about London session. I will be back for New York. I'll be on at 7. I'm always trying to convert my time, y'all. I'm on Central Standard Time. 9 o'clock is market open. 8 o'clock is Central Standard Time market open. So 7:30. 7:30 Central Standard Time, 8:30 is Eastern Standard Time. I'll be back on YouTube live and I keep my charts running for the week. Am I leaving now? Do you have a pair that you want me to mark up? The link to my YouTube is in my bio. You can go to YouTube. You can watch the pairs. I caught some SPX trades last week and was kind of bummed out about missing UJ, but I'm not going to miss it this week. And I just came over to 15-minute real quick just to show y'all if you were here on time for this UJ trade, right? We wasn't on time, so we missed it. I don't like getting in stuff if I'm not near the zone, okay? And I don't have a decent stop loss. But here's our zone, right? If we look down on our RSI, we got our first part of the M right here. And then we got our second part of the M right here, right? That second part of the M, price gave us an evening star, bullish, doji, bearish candle. Get in at the close of that bearish candle and could have took it back to the trend line. That'd have been a nice 40 something pips. Yeah, no. But we wasn't paying attention to it. But as y'all can see, I'm just showing y'all that the confirmation works. The confirmation works. Now we're just waiting on price to get up under here. Okay. Oh, we can look at the yen real quick though. I don't know why it's not in my oh, it is over here. Okay. The yen is ES1. No, this is not the yen. What is it? Why is it not saved? I go through this every time. Okay. It's 6J. Japanese yen futures, and then I want to see the CME chart. It's the only one that don't have a bunch of gaps, okay? All right, so here's my chart for the yen. This is why I don't know why I didn't have it over there, because you see it's already marked up. All right. Trying to see how valid this trend line is. Doesn't look too valid. Let's delete this real quick because I'm not liking how that looks. All right, so remember I told y'all the yen is super low in price. This is why everybody's moving over there to Asia. Like, look at how far it has fallen from 2011. It's just been on a straight plummet. I kind of feel bad for them. All right, price is currently inside of a fair value gap, so I'm definitely going to mark that here. And then I'm going to mark this last high and this last low. And I know it may be hard to see with all these lines. When I get to the smaller time frame, the line is going to disappear. I can't remember how to mark up my Okay. Somebody said EU is flying. All right, EU is back at the zone, but it's also 1:38. We do not want to touch it until 3 a.m. Okay? 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I'm going to let it do whatever it's going to do. EU is a London and a New York session pair. This is Asia session, so we definitely just want to let it be. Okay? And then definitely wait. I'm going to mark this area because I don't have my alert set here. This is where I want to see price come back to. All right. No, we're marking up our charts. Okay. So back to the end. We marked up our last high, our last low, and this fair value gap. Now I want to come to my weekly. Okay. And I do have a trend line. I have a rejection point here and a rejection point here. So I'm going to mark up this trend line here and here. Okay. And then I have a trend line underneath also. I have a rejection point here and here. Here and here. Just puts it back into a wedge. Okay, so now I'm going to come down to my daily. And I want to see what's going on here within my daily. I see another trend line that I can mark and just kind of disregard that one because it's kind of far from price, right? And also another trend line down here, so I can make my wedge even smaller. Here and here. Okay. Now I want to come down to my 4-hour. This is currently where price is on my JPY chart. Okay. And remember, price is moving from trend line to trend line. So we came short here, right? Let me get that off of, I can't get it off that line. No, remove that. Price came short of this trend line. So price could be coming back up to this trend line. Or it could continue its move down to this trend line, right? We're underneath. This was a higher time frame fair value gap here. Let me change this to purple. We're underneath this fair value gap, right? And we retested it and we dropped lower, but now it looks like price is trying to pull back up. Let's find some zones. I want to go down to the 1 hour. Okay. And I see a zone here. All right, so this was the last zone that price just rejected from. That's sending the yen up. My only thing is I don't want price to reject this and then sell. If price rejects this and then sell, UJ is going to continue higher. Okay. But if price decides that it wants to break through, then UJ will continue lower. Now with UJ, you have to consider in also the dollar. All right. I'm marking that zone up. I do see another fair value gap here, but this purple line was more important. I think this is like a monthly fair value gap. Okay. I see a gap all the way up here because remember, if price is going higher, we want it to come up here to this trend line. All right. So now let's come down to the 15-minute. All right. So currently, price was going in an uptrend, right? Uptrend. I don't like that here. Here. All right. This was our last down move before that up move. So this was our break of structure here. That started to send price into this downtrend. All right. So we did get a break. We got a retest. And then we got a continuation that gave us a lower low, right? Remember, price can pull all the way back to its last structure point and then continue lower. Right? So now we're near this fair value gap area and we're near this structure point, this break of structure here. Okay. And then there's also a fair value gap right here. I just need price to reject from here or right here. As long as it continues into these areas, UJ is still going to sell. But as soon as it rejects, we want to see UJ buy. I don't see it coming above these monthly areas. But then again, this is why you wait for these zones because it could break, retest, and go higher. Okay. But with the yen being so low, right? It's low in price. We just want to continue to see it make another lower low, okay? Which will send UJ back up. All right, but first, we want to see UJ, see what it's going to do here, okay? See what it's going to do at this trend line. It's either going to come inside and sell, or it's either going to come here and reject. All right. Okay, so I'm waiting on price to come to this area. And definitely just going to wait for New York session before I get into anything. All right, so I will be live at 7:30. Was there any other pair before we get off of here? It is 12:46. I think I'll give y'all till 1 o'clock and we can go. You're welcome. So remember, we were looking for this to finish, but let's see what it does. Price got this fair value gap here. It definitely gave us a some nice bullish movement here for Asia session. That's a 27 pip candle, and price is about to close. SPX meme coin. I don't think I have what is the doggone app for the meme coins? Moonshot. Okay, let's see. SPX meme coin. Is that $1.60? And it's gonna flip the market? Just because it's at $1.60, I'm gonna put a couple dollars in there. Exactly. Can't hurt. It's worth 150 right now. It'd be worth 40 at the end of the year. I'm holding Trump memes coin. I'm gonna buy that one. I sure am, because I've seen it do nothing but these meme coins buy. It's just when, like that one chick that they were talking about with these meme coins. I have Trump meme coin and I have that Doge meme coin. So I'm gonna buy some of this SPX meme coin. It's up 7.22% right now. Okay. See, I don't really look a lot into meme coins. I didn't even start getting a meme coin until Trump dropped his. To be honest, I didn't even know what a meme coin was. But it's definitely gonna be the next big thing, right? Like crypto. Everybody was like, "What's crypto?" And now Bitcoin is at a hundred plus, right? And Nas, US 30, SPX, none of them have reached 100K over however many years that they've been in. So here's our all-time high for Nas, and it's just got up to 22,000, and US 30 is like 40, 50,000. It's all times highs for that. It's 45,000. And here comes crypto during 100K in like, has it been 11 years? How many years has it been? Since 2015, maybe 10 years, whenever it really became popular and known. And this has been around definitely longer than 2017, but that's all it's showing on my chart since forever. So, yep, exactly. Super early retailer come. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna get in. Thanks for that. SPX meme coin. I think I have a link in my bio to Moonshot. That's where I buy my meme coins at. How do I keep doing this? Okay, I guess because I'm double clicking that. That's how I get my chart back. All right, guys. Oh, thank you. I'm about to get off of here. You can click my name and click the notification bell in my bio. Also, go ahead and follow me if you like. There is a free student Discord tomorrow, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. We will be on here for an hour and a half, 2 hours at the most. We are going to finish the last two chapters in the Trading Bible. And then Tuesday, we will start the trading pattern book. I have to buy it and I have to figure out how to do Kindle because I'm a physical book girly. I'm not an ebook girly. Like, you see all my books over here? I'm a physical book girl. I got a whole bookshelf, right? But I got to figure out how to do Kindle and then pull it up on the computer because with the Trading Bible, it's just a free PDF. So with the Trading Chart book, I need to buy it and then figure out how I can stream it for y'all so that we can go through that book and then go through the chart and mark up all of our patterns and start to identify those. So if you don't know how to identify an engulfing candle or an evening, a morning star, pin bars, we went over the candlestick Bible. I did that here on TikTok, and then I just downloaded and uploaded it to YouTube. So those videos are there for you to go back and learn. And I will do the same thing with the charting book. We'll do it here on TikTok, and then I'll download it to YouTube. All right, so I'll see you guys on YouTube in the morning if you can at 7:30 Central Standard Time. If you can't, it's literally going to be live until I come onto TikTok, and then just pretty much repeat that every day. All right, so I appreciate y'all. Click the notification bell. It's almost 1 o'clock in the morning. It's almost 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm about to go and shower and get in the bed because I know I'm not getting up at 6. I know it's not happening, but I'm going to have to still get up at 7. All right, y'all. Have a good night.